This segment of the news is brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.
Welcome back. Former cabinet minister and member of the Progressive Liberal Party's Candidates Committee, George A. Smith, says the PLP had a consultative meeting in Grand Bahama yesterday for the West End and Bimini constituency. He explains that this was not a primary election, adding that only one branch of the PLP was involved. His explanation follows reports of former Tourism Minister Obi Wilshcombe eyeing the nomination for the constituency after winning the approval of the party's West Grand Bahama branch yesterday.
A suggested candidate. Now a constituency, let's say, with 5,000 registered voters. We have branches that have a couple hundred in some cases, less than that in some. A branch makes a recommendation. The Candidates Committee looks at the recommendation, factors in information that is available to the Candidates Committee. The Candidates Committee agonizes over the matter and then makes a recommendation to the Council of the party.
Mr. Smith says the difficulties faced in some instances is this: the consultation process may be dealt with by one branch or a number of branches depending on the numbers and geographical composition of the constituency. He adds, however, that candidates have emerged in the past by virtue of consultation with the party's branches. Asked if what took place in Grand Bahama this weekend was merely consultation, Mr. Smith says this.
So what took place in Grand Bahama this weekend was merely consultation?
That's all it is.
It wasn't a primary as such?
No primaries, no primaries. It is consulting the branch on who you, the branch members, believe should be the candidate. And sometimes, let's face it, that constituency has over 5,000 registered voters. 170 people attending a branch meeting in a portion of the constituency on the island of Grand Bahama. No delegates from no one from Bimini, no one from Cap Key, no one from probably other parts of Grand Bahama. So it's a portion of the constituency. It was only consultation.
Okay.
And the Candidates Committee has the agonizing difficulty of looking beyond the obvious, the popularity of one person or the other. Person may be very popular.
Now, back in 2017, Mr. Wilshcombe lost the West Grand Bahama and Bimini seat to the Free National Movement's Paketia Parker Edgecombe by over 200 votes. Mr. Smith was a guest on Love 97's Issues of the Day talk show with host Wendell Jones. 23 people cited over the weekend for breach of COVID-19 protocols. While there has been some relaxation of restrictions put in place to mitigate the spread of COVID-19, there are measures still in place to help slow the spread of the disease. And one such measure is a no to large gatherings. Well, over the weekend, in two separate incidents, police cited individuals for attending social gatherings. In the first incident, shortly after 4 p.m., acting on information, officers from the operations unit proceeded to the parking lot of a business establishment on Robinson Road. While there, they observed a number of persons boarding a vehicle that was advertised as a party bus. A short time later, the bus exited the lot. Officers then intercepted the vehicle and found 5 people on board. A field search was conducted. Each person was cited for breach of the COVID-19 emergency order and warned of prosecution. In a second incident, some 4 hours later, shortly after 8 p.m., police responded to a large party that was being held at a location on Boatswain Hill. On the arrival of the officers, the crowd began to disperse. However, officers were successful in citing 18 people for breach of the COVID-19 emergency order and warned them of prosecution. As the political season slowly ramps up over the weekend, both the major political parties, the Free National Movement and the Progressive Liberal Party, held gatherings this past Saturday. This while police issued over the weekend more than 20 citations for attending social gatherings. This morning, outside Parliament, Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Public Works Desmond Bannister and Opposition Leader Philip Davis also responded to the gatherings.
Any evidence of gatherings over the requisite numbers, and if anyone, nobody is above the law. So if anyone has those types of gatherings, I'm sure that the law will take its course. Let me repeat this: I have not seen any gatherings above the requisite numbers. That's the first thing. The second thing is that if anybody does have them, then the law should take its course. The third thing is, remember what the doctors have said: we are not past danger in this pandemic. So we have to be very, very careful about that. And I'm sure that the police, the authorities are listening to the medical advice. And if anybody breaches the law, I'm sure they're going to respond appropriately.
On Prime Minister Dr. Hubert Minnis's social media page, there were photos of him and Member of Parliament, Michael Folks, with more than 20 people under a tent, and scores of people joined them in the walkabout in the constituency. Meanwhile, the PLP held a large gathering at the party's headquarters where the party held a curbside breakfast. More than 20 people were gathered at the event based on the photos. When asked about the event, Mr. Davis told reporters it was simply breakfast. According to the emergency orders, as it relates to social gatherings, people may host or attend a social gathering for no more than 20 people, adding that it's an offense that is liable upon summary conviction. You're watching JCN News. Stay with us.
This segment of the news has been brought to you by Sun Oil Limited.